Alright, so in the previous video, we started the weapons system and we made some throwable objects, the sprites, the prefabs. Now we need to fix the spawn height depending if we are standing or we are on the crouch state. And for that, I'll be using the service locator. I'll be using the one that I made. I think so. I think I will be doing some adjustments here because I was using in production and uh, I found some ways of improve this. So I'll be making some adjustments on the fly. So here we got the game service locator, main. We got the game service, the iService. Uh, Status and the definition. Uh, so let's start by just setting this to the plugins. Actually, let me move this inside the game service, the project folder. And now we got the main. Uh, I think I will create the service for the player first inside the this folder. So just create one service. And here, since this will be the first one, probably later we have some others, but for now, just we'll create inside here. So it will be an iPlayer, let's say, uh, weapon service. Um, uh, this will hold some informations on other than only weapons. Uh, but for now, just name it like that. Let me open this. This will be the interface for the service. So this can be interface, remove this one right here. I'll move this to the service locator as a service. And then player weapons service. This will be a select class that will be a mono behavior because I will need some reference in the player object. So let me implement the iPlayer weapon service. Move this to the service namespace. And here, so here on the player weapon service, I will have a vector tree, standing weapon spawn point. It will just gather and crouch it weapon spawn point. Crouch it. And here on the service, we can just implement this and return two objects. One, it will be the spawn transform. Dot position. And the second one will be the same thing. Let me just rename this like this. And further crouch it. Transform. And same thing here. Dot position. So this will not be hard coded, but we'll be able to change this in the inspector. Now we can actually just skip like this. Go back to enter right here. I think I'll be adding maybe not on the root component. I'm just create a new object, service, just to keep separated. be a player service. So we need a standing weapon spawn transform and a crouched weapon spawn transform. We'll create an empty object here. Uh, spawn weapons spawn points. I think I'll just copy this name right here. An empty for the standing and one for the crouched. Reset this position. Add an icon here for this. And now we can just like change the sprite here for the standing attack. And for the spawn point, I'll be moving like here, I guess. 1.5, 1.1, and I think the height is good. And for the crouched, I'll be doing the same thing. Crouched attack. But here, let me set the same position. The only difference will be the height. So basically on the same line here. I think this is good. Maybe closer. Yeah, we can adjust that, but for now let's just keep like this. Idle. Now that we have the service, we can just attach the standing and the crouched. And once we request the position, it would just return these transforms. Alright, so now we need to get the game service locator, restore service. We can set as a player weapon service this, and I forgot to inherit this from the service. Alright, now that we have this, we can go to the player attack state and get the player weapon service like this. And on the setup state, we can just set as a game service locator and get service. I think I will remove this add on change service availability stats listener because uh, this can hold objects in the memory even if they're not used anymore. So since this is a static class and we add listeners, uh, basically if we have something like this and we get the service, it will just keep uh, the reference to the callback that we set. So for objects that unit don't have access, not this one because this is attached to the state machine, but generally I think I will just throughout the project just use the get service and get the player weapon service. So this way we don't need to set callbacks. Later, if we find problems with get service, return null before register the service. I think I would change that. But for now, let's just use like this. And here on the player weapon service, we can set the spawn point here. Where's the state? You're using the player animator. I think we can just set here. of course, we need to check what uh, state we're in, if it's crouched or standing. But for now, let me just test the standing. So it will be standing weapon spawn position. All right. And now I think I can just go to the unit and test it. Now if you hit play, you can see that we're spawning at the object location. Maybe this isn't too good, I think. So I found a good position here. So let me just copy this and paste it. Paste component values, and it's like this. I think this spawn position is good for the standing. Now we need to figure out if we are standing or crouched and return the, let's say, the desired spawn position. And for that, I think I'll be adding another vector tree. Uh, Desired weapon spawn point. Maybe I'll just skip this one actually. But let me just write this. Implement. And here we need to figure out if we are crouched or standing. Alright, so to figure out the desired spawn point, I'll be using the is crouched from the animator. So here on the service, I will get a reference to the animator. And I think I will also create a class here, entities, player, let's say controllers. I think I need to organize this, but let me just create common folder, player, animator, hashes. And here I will just get this idle animation, actually crouch paramble ID. This will come here. It will be static, public, select class. It will not be read-only, just this. And here inside the service, I can just do this logic. If and here on the player weapon service, I will create a method, private vector tree, get desired weapon spawn point, and you can check if player animator get bool player animator hashes, and I'll use here bool is crouched is actually is crouched. We will return the crouched weapon transform dot position. Else we return the standing one. Turn standing position. And then we can remove this this one right here, get the desired, and that's it. Remove this, and here we can check the desired weapons open. So now we don't really need to care if we're standing or crouching, you can just get the desired one. And as a service, I'll just assign the animator here. So let's see if it's working. This one is working. This one is also working. All right, so now it's working. I get the right position for the crouching, for the standing, and I think this is good. Now one thing that I will fix is the weapons is spawning and not disabling, so they just keep going. What I'm gonna do is create a new script. Let me just create the controllers here, I guess. Controllers. And this will be like disable object when invisible. And here I can just set the object object to disable, and use the on became invisible, and use the object to disable, set active, false. This is, I'm doing like this because uh, the renderer is a child of the root player, so I can just actually the weapon renderer is a child. So I can just go to the entities, the prefabs of the weapons, and get the dagger and set the disable object and use this one. And let me see if it's working. As you can see, it's working. And I'll be using this logic to implement the object pool. So when this object disables, they go back to the queue and we can reuse them instead of instantiating new ones. All right. So now what we need to fix is the player is sliding once we enter the state. Uh, we don't want to stop once we enter the attack state, because if we attack in the air, we would also be stop freeze. So what we need to do is check if we are on ground. To check if we are on ground and attacking, we just stop the player. Alright, so to stop the player once we enter the attack state, I'll be adding a new layer of logic here inside the transitions that will be transition logics. So let me go to the state machine, and here I can just set a new transition logic, and we can access the state transition, and we got the transition conditions, and we will also have a new serialized field of list of transition logics. All right, so we can execute a new logic of stopping the player to transit to the attack state. Inside, of course, the movement. So what we can do here, state transition, is set a new list uh, transition logic and set here. All right, so now with this, I can create a new transition logic. So let's go to the player state machine, transition logics. And we can just create one like stop player transition logic. And here we can inherit from the transition logic. Let me just copy this here. Implement the abstract class. This will be a slid one. And we can just set the rigid body to T, clear rigid body, override setup logic, clear rigid body equals to entity component. And here inside the execute logic, we can just set the clear rigid body velocity to 0. And we can remove this. And here we can just add the create asset menu. But now, stop player, transition logic. Instead of states, it will be transition logics. Alright, I think this is good. Now, alright, so now here inside the state machine, inside the transition methods, I will create another out parameter, uh, state transition, and set to the transition, state transition. Alright, and the same thing here. And this will also be new to return. Alright, now what we can do here is create a new out. I think I'll create here actually out state transition, and set inside these methods. This would be basically the same thing. So let me just copy this. Now with the state transition, what I need to do is pass as a parameter to the switch state. And we can get a state transition. And once we exit the current state, we can loop through the state transition logics and execute logic. And this will be a transition logic. All right. Of course, that can be refactored. I don't think it's always a good idea to use alt parameters. But for this situation, I think this is what is faster. to get working. So now what I can do here is create a new transition logics. I should actually create a new script folder. So let me just move this to the SO and create the transition logics of stop player. And now inside the states, when we switch from the player movement to the attack, what I'm gonna execute is stop the player. Uh, One thing that I also forgot to mention here is inside the initialize state, we also initialize the transition logics. So it's just a for nested for each loop inside the transition logics to set up the logic, like we did here, just to get the rich body. Of course, this will not happen if we don't have any logic inside the transition. So that's what we do to get the rich body. Now, if we press play, you can see that if we attack and move, we actually stop the player. And if we need to some logic like this later on the game, like transition logic, we can just reuse the same idea. But yeah, that's it. Now we disable the objects. We are ready to implement the object pool. We have the weapons service that we can uh, get the desired uh, spawn point. And I think this is too far, maybe. Of course, we need some tweaks here, but we can set that later. And this is also ready to implement the logic when we set the pickups. Like once we get an item, we can change the current weapon logic to spawn any kind of weapon that we want, because we will be doing that logic inside the weapons service. I will change the name, but we'll be doing that. Uh, so yeah, for the next video, I think I will be implementing the object pool and fixing some problems that I found here. Uh, but for now, that's it. Uh, we are ready to implement more stuff. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you like it, and I'll see you on the next one.